we are covering IPv6 address auto-configuration for the CCNA exam, focusing on the key methods you'll be tested on: SLAAC, EUI-64, and the different modes of DHCPv6. Understanding how a host dynamically gets its IPv6 address is critical, as the exam will present scenarios that test your knowledge of this process. Let's start with Stateless Address Auto-Configuration, or SLAAC. This method allows a host to generate its own global unicast address without a DHCP server. The process begins when a host sends an ICMPv6 router solicitation message to find a local router. The router responds with a router advertisement, or RA, message, which contains the network prefix and its length. The host then takes this 64-bit prefix and combines it with a 64-bit interface ID that it generates itself. The most common way it generates this interface ID is through the EUI-64 process. The CCNA exam requires you to know the EUI-64 calculation perfectly. It converts a device's 48-bit MAC address into a 64-bit interface ID. Let's walk through an example. If the MAC address is 001A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5E, you first split it in half, 001A, 2B, and 3C, 4D, 5E. Insert the hexadecimal value FFFE right in the middle, giving you 001A, 2B, FFFE, 3C, 4D, 5E. The final and most commonly missed step is to flip the 7th bit. The first byte is 00, which is 0000 in binary. The 7th bit is a 0, so you flip it to a 1, making it 00000010, which is 02 in hexadecimal. The final EUI-64 interface ID is 021A, 2BFF, FE3C, 4D, 5E. A great mnemonic to remember this is split and stuff with FFFE, then flip the 7th bit. Now, a major limitation of SLAAC is that the RA message provides the network prefix and default gateway, but traditionally not the DNS server addresses. This is where DHCPv6 comes in. DHCPv6 has two modes, stateful and stateless. The mode a client uses is determined by flags in the router's RA message. Stateful DHCPv6 is what most people think of as traditional DHCP. The server assigns a client its full IPv6 address and all other configuration parameters, like DNS, and it keeps a record, or state, of the lease. A host knows to use stateful DHCPv6 when the M flag for managed address configuration is set to 1 in the RA message. A common exam strat is a scenario where a host needs full address management from a central server. The answer will involve setting the M flag. The other mode is stateless DHCPv6. In this hybrid approach, the host still generates its own address using SLAAC, but it gets other information, like DNS servers, from a DHCPv6 server. This is triggered when the O flag for other configuration is set to 1 in the RA message, while the M flag is 0. The server provides the extra details but doesn't track address assignments, hence the term stateless. Finally, let's touch on privacy. Since EUI-64 uses a static MAC address, it could allow a device to be tracked across different networks. To solve this, RFC 4941 introduced Privacy Extensions, which generate a temporary pseudo-random interface ID instead of using the predictable EUI-64 method. For the CCNA, you just need to know that this feature exists to enhance privacy by preventing host tracking. For free practice questions, AI-powered explanations, and more exam prep tools, visit openexamprep.com. That's openexamprep, all one word, .com.